What is up, y'all? It's Joelle. It has been a long time since I feel like I've done like a casual little sit down chat video. I feel like within the past year I've had so many life changes and just so many different things happening, and I have not been very transparent with y'all as a YouTube channel, especially people who have been coming along with me for a super long time. So today I want to just slow down for a second and just chat and catch up, because I was talking to a friend somewhat recently and we were talking about how I feel like I am really bad at sharing about aspects of my life on the internet, even though I love creating content. I want to make things that people want to see, but like on a personal level, my friend, to put it bluntly, was just like, you're not very relatable. Like, you don't share a whole lot. Like, you don't really have like struggles that people can relate to. I obviously am very privileged to be at home with my family, very financially secure, and like doing a dream job basically. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things in my life that have just really lined up, but I feel like that has made me very private with things that do stress me out, because part of why I love making YouTube videos is being able to share positivity and joyful things on the internet. But I feel like I realized that it's not always helpful to just be like positive and say everything's great all the time. It's also very helpful to share about things that are difficult and share about things that you're thinking about, stressed out about, whatever it might be. So today we're going to talk about some of those quarter life crisis things, especially in terms of career and just things that have been like weighing on me, I guess, a little lately, and just talk about like where I'm at career-wise, because a lot of people have been coming along this journey with me for a while, going from Dartmouth studying film and economics and now being at BuzzFeed. And I know a lot of us are like in that young post-college age of like trying to make career things happen. So yeah, we're just gonna talk it out. I'm gonna do my nails. I have this awesome little kit from Nail Addict LA. They sent me this tiny little portable LED UV light that has been dope for just being able to do my nails at home. And they sent me gel polishes. They sent me a white one that's really pretty sparkly blue color, and this is the color I'm using today. It's Rainforest Queen, and it's just like super sparkly. Get you all beauty blogger focus. Then I have a base and a top coat, and I'm literally sitting on my sister's bedroom floor. I've already done the base coat actually. I'm just gonna get in with the color. I really don't have like the best setup on the floor over here. We're just gonna chat through quarter life crisis things and do our nails, and it's gonna be a fun time. I guess to kind of kick it off, one of the things that I've been really thinking about slash like stressing about, which I don't really like to do obviously, is just like my personal brand, you know, feeling like I need to really, especially with YouTube, have something in particular that's really unique about me, which I feel like makes sense for a lot of people working in media, but it's kind of been consolidated by the fact that I now work at a major media company. And, you know, working at BuzzFeed has been a really interesting journey. Let's talk about what it's like to be at BuzzFeed. It's been really cool. I feel like I've met such incredible people, and I've had a lot of learning to do in terms of making my videos. For any of you guys who found me through BuzzFeed, I hope you enjoyed the videos I've made, but for anyone who's been here a little longer, you know, like my videos haven't always been like the most polished or the most viral for obvious reasons. I think BuzzFeed has really challenged me to think in like that viral way, which I have no problem with. Like, it doesn't, like, my videos at BuzzFeed are obviously not crazy personal. It's more like making something that I hope people will watch. But in that, I think I thought that I'd be able to separate my personal feelings from the success of the video a little better than I actually have been able to. Also, look at that first coat of nail polish. That's literally one coat, and it's so opaque. But yeah, so it's been really cool being able to make things that like thousands of people watch. I've never had that sensation before. But then on the other hand, it brings around, you know, all the difficulties with like comparison, and then feeling like I have to choose an avenue that people will like know me as, because all the most successful people at BuzzFeed had like a personal brand. And this dives deep into like a personal fear slash frustration of mine, where I've always felt like I was a jack of all trades and like master of none, and I never had anything to like really distinguish me. Like, I feel like I'm like very average at a lot of different things. I always had two concerns when it came to choosing a niche, and one was that I'd be pigeonholed. I wouldn't be able to do anything else, and when the opportunity came along to do something really exciting, I wouldn't be able to be considered because I'd done something else for a long time. The other concern was that I lacked so much confidence in considering myself an expert that I felt like I didn't have the right to choose any niche. Like I was like, I'm not good enough at anything to choose it as like my niche of content to create, which is obviously not a healthy mindset to have. So it's just been like very interesting dealing with that now in the context of a much larger company where I don't have to choose a niche obviously, but it will really help because the audience that watches BuzzFeed videos is not like you guys. Like they're not coming there for my personality. They want to see a certain type of content, and maybe eventually they'll start coming for my personality, but until then I should kind of like stick to one particular area and try to build an audience there, which is just something that I've never really had to do before. It's a little scary. But going back to like career in general, as someone who is a recent college grad, I feel like there's a constant need to push myself, to grind, to side hustle, and to constantly be like advancing, you know, reaching benchmarks, making certain amounts of money, getting certain numbers of views or whatever it is. And I realized that that mentality, while it motivates people to like do great things, it never actually satisfies, because the minute you accomplish something, you feel like you're already behind, which again, some people I feel like really glorify, and they're like, yes, like the hustle mentality, but then it also, I feel like, doesn't allow you to rest and reflect and like think about what you're actually doing or becoming, I guess. And I think I noticed that in myself. I always thought, no, I'm not like that. I've gone to ministry school. I know how to reflect and meditate. And since working in the corporate world after college, I realized that no, I'm not immune to that, because I am doing the exact same thing. As a lot of you saw on like my Instagram and social media, I've been at BuzzFeed for over a year, even though I've only been a video producer for a few months. I'm doing my right hand now. This is gonna be really difficult. I was on the social strategy team, which was like learning about all the metrics and analytics and basically publishing every piece of video content onto like a bunch of different social platforms at BuzzFeed, which was awesome and gave me such a good understanding of how social media works. It was wonderful, and I had a great team. But after I got the video production fellowship role that I was like super excited for, and I was like, yes, I've wanted this for literally years, to be able to say that I produced for BuzzFeed, like the glitter and shine of that really wore off like very quickly once I was kind of hit with the reality of like, oh man, now I have to prove myself here. And for anyone who works in social media, I'm sure you'll understand this, but it's really interesting. When I describe it to friends who work in other industries, it's quite different, because typically feedback in other roles is kind of unanimous. Like you have like a particular form of feedback from like a higher up or whatever, a client perhaps. They give you pointers on what you're doing well and what you can improve in. The weird thing about now making public videos for your job is that you can make a video that your managers think is good, that the social publishing team thinks is good, and then you post it and it performs badly. And that means that it was kind of a bad video. Like ultimately the subscribers and the viewers are what determine our success in the world of digital media. So like it could have been theoretically like a well-made video, but if it didn't capture the audience, then it, you know, kind of missed the point. But I think that's something that I really had a hard time with. So it's very strange and like oftentimes frustrating when you might get really good feedback about something before it's published, and then once it's published, it's like, actually, never mind, that was bad. And I think another thing about having those two sources of feedback in your work is that while one of them is very private, feedback from my managers, feedback internally at BuzzFeed, the other one is extremely public. The view count, the likes ratio, the comments, those are all for everyone to see. And obviously that's like not new to me, because I've been making YouTube videos and on social media for a long time, but it is a little strange where like people can publicly call you out at just being really bad at like your full-time job. And while that doesn't sound like crazy, because people can criticize anyone at anything, for anyone who spent a really long time preparing for something, whether it's through your education or training or whatever, when you finally arrive to the role that you wanted or are given the opportunity to deliver, you would think that, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this my whole life, it's time to really crush it and to execute. But for someone like me who's young and still figuring it out, this is the time to fail. This is absolutely the time to make mistakes and to still have to use trial and error to figure out what will be successful for my new role. And that's something that I'm trying to be okay with. And I know that sounds very petty, like it's like, oh, just me complaining about being bad at my job, but truly, I think that this is like kind of a relatable thing for a lot of young people entering the workforce, where we expect to be good at something right off the bat. We expect to like crush it at our job, to get promoted immediately or whatever. But like in the workforce, careers are long, and there are people who have been doing this for way longer than we have, and we have to learn from them. And I feel like I talked to my friends who've also recently graduated about this a lot, where we're very impatient. I'm debating whether or not I want to do a second coat. I feel like I already nicked it in some places, so I guess I do have to do a second coat, but it's quite opaque. Oh, another fun thing about these nail polishes is that they're vegan. I think they're made in the US in LA, which is dope, so thanks, Nail Addict. Anyways, I know this was a long ramble and kind of disorganized, but I kind of miss being able to have disorganized videos, because my videos for BuzzFeed, and I feel like a lot of my videos on YouTube lately have been like kind of hyper organized, or just like very structured and quick, and don't really allow for wiggle room or imperfection. So that's what I am letting this encompass, is just being really honest with people about what I'm experiencing as a young, early 20-year-old trying to succeed in a career in entertainment. One last thing that's been freaking me out recently that I didn't realize I was afraid of was that when I started my position as a like video producer at BuzzFeed, I made a public Twitter, because I was like, okay, it's finally probably time for me to have a Twitter. I feel like a lot of discourse happens on Twitter. I'd had a private one and I just used it to like follow my friends, but it was so silly, but I was so afraid to tweet. I was like, man, I feel like I have literally nothing to say. As someone who makes a lot of videos talking on the internet, I was like interestingly petrified of saying something. And I realized that's like a really deep-rooted insecurity of mine, where I always worry that what I say will bother someone or offend someone or make someone uncomfortable, even if it's like as silly as saying, I don't think that Knives Out should have a sequel. I think that as a standalone movie, it was fine. But having opinions on anything, for someone who literally did critical media studies, is very hard for me to publicize. I don't think that's normal. I don't think I even always had this fear, but yeah, nowadays I feel like I'm so afraid of people disagreeing with me, which is so stupid because people could disagree with anything. So I really do want to challenge myself to be more vocal about what I like, about what I don't like, and not be so afraid of using my voice. That's the whole reason why I have a platform at all, is to use my voice to say opinions, because if I had nothing to say, then why would I be here, you know? But anyways, I feel pretty happy with the opacity of my nails, so I'm gonna get started on my top coat. And while I am doing the top coat, it wouldn't be a Joelle video if I didn't talk about some of the ways that I try to overcome the stress that I've been feeling and alleviate the situation, because I don't think it would be super fun for anyone if I just came on here and unloaded, you know, 20 minutes of frustrations without really talking about how I address it. And that's not to say that I always need to have the answers. I think that is something that I'm learning myself, that I don't always need to have the answers to something to share it. But in terms of, you know, on social media, and like if I'm gonna make a video, might as well end on a positive note. And there are a number of ways that I have been learning to help deal with stress from work, with stress from just like being a young person and trying to figure out who I am. I'm sure most of them are things that you've heard before. For example, one of my big ones is journaling. I feel like when I have my thoughts out on paper, it's so much easier for me to feel like I can rest. I also think of my journal as kind of like me and God. Like the things that are in there are between me and him, and no one else needs to like hear those thoughts. And I'm like, those don't even need to always be positive thoughts. Like I think I used to think, oh, like as a Christian, I'm not supposed to get stressed or frustrated or annoyed. I shouldn't be fearful of anything because I only fear the Lord, you know? But then I realized that when I was experiencing like feelings of frustration or fear, I didn't feel like I could bring those to God, because I was like, no, I don't want to acknowledge it, but I have to acknowledge it to bring it to God to be able to get rid of it. So it's obvious to me now that God isn't going to be intimidated or even surprised when I acknowledge that I am experiencing some sort of fear of the future or fear of failure. And it's after I acknowledge it that I'm able to actually say, when I say it out loud, it sounds a lot sillier than I thought, so maybe it's not so bad. Also, after writing things down and like really verbalizing some of the things that I'm concerned about, it helps me think about how I would respond if a friend felt that way. And I feel like I always have answers when my friends are like coming up against troubles, and I'm like, wow, I should maybe take my own advice. Otherwise, I definitely have started to get, I think, a little more open with friends and loved ones about when I am dealing with negative thoughts. Like my boyfriend definitely hears a lot of it now, but I think even with like, you know, other friends that maybe I wouldn't have been as okay sharing things with before, I'm starting to open up, which is funny because I always thought I was a really open person. I was like, I'm an open book, anyone can ask me anything and I'll answer, which was true, but no one's like gonna ask me about like insecurities that they don't even know that I have. I think it was just like, oh, if they're not gonna come up, they're not gonna come up. And I also never wanted to say negative things because I feel like I was like, I always should just be like a role model, you know? If someone's dealing with something, then I want to be able to be stable so that I can help them, and I will just never address any of my problems because I don't want to talk about them until I've solved them. But like realistically, I feel like being honest and open with things that I'm going through allows me to have like a deeper level of relationship with a lot of people. And it's not like I'm making up insecurities so that I can relate to them, but just that like I'm indicating that I have like let them into a certain level of confidentiality, I guess. And that's okay. It's okay for things to be messy. Like my nails right now. And I think the last thing, especially when it comes to work or social media related stress, now that that is my work, is just knowing that it's okay to step away and to diversify what I'm spending my time on. I realized that when I was spending a lot of time on social media, it was good for me to take a break from Instagram, which I did for like a month, and it was fantastic. Also, that maybe I don't need to be consuming the same type of media that I'm making all the time. Maybe instead of watching other YouTube videos, even though I love watching YouTube to get inspiration, you know, comparison, the thief of joy, finds its way to creep in, and maybe I should just like watch a TV show, read a book or something, and really enjoy and process a different form of media and art to learn something and just get my mind off of always thinking about optimizing myself and always thinking about, oh, I should be learning from this, this should be a learning experience. I need to just be able to enjoy some things and not try to relate it to my work all the time. And I've been really thankful also to be able to have the ability to work on projects that are not related to work, whether it's like even having my own YouTube channel or just working on creative things that are not for myself. Like I get to act in a friend's pilot/short film next week, which I'm psyched for, and that's partially why I'm doing my nails. I've gotten to do some modeling gigs, and all these things I feel like have really helped me diversify what I'm putting my energy into, where I don't feel like all that defines me is my social media presence and the videos that I put out for work. And lastly, the most obvious thing that I do is pray. I feel like really putting things in perspective of eternity and like having a much greater purpose definitely allows me to take some of the stress off of feeling like I need to hit a certain number of numbers for work or for my personal channels, or feeling like I need to be the best video producer at BuzzFeed, having only produced like 2 videos so far and been here for 2 months as a producer. My camera literally just died mid-sentence, but having some sort of solid ground to come back to that is completely removed from anything in this physical world, I would always recommend. But anyways, I finally cured and finished my top coat, and I'm so excited. These nails are so pretty, and I did them all at home. I'm sure you can see I obviously got a lot of nail polish like on my skin just because I'm bad at nails, but I think it's so cool that I can now do gel nails while at home, and I need these to last like 2 weeks and not chip. So I am very excited about these. Thank you again, Nail Addict LA. I forgot to say, they give me a cute little promo code. You guys get a discount if you want your own little at-home gel nail kit. I know that some of the spas are reopening, but personally, I don't know, it's just like a big expense to go get my nails done all the time, so I really want to get good at like doing my own nails. But anyways, I know this was a very long, rambly, and unorganized video, which is quite different from a lot of my past content, but I hope you enjoy these just to like catch up, see how you guys are doing. Let me know in the comments down below, please, like what are things that you're going through or thinking about a lot right now? Are you a student? Are you working? Are you exploring your faith, your identity in some way? Because I feel like a lot of us are constantly going through so many different things, trying to figure out who we are and what we're about. But especially with this past year, I think it's been really hard for me to like open up to people, because when I see them, I'm not trying to just like unload all my frustrations onto them, you know? I really want to stop sugarcoating things all the time and just like be more honest with y'all, with my friends, with myself. So this is a journey that I know I'll be on for quite some time. If you have yet to subscribe and want to come back for more deep chats and self-improvement, please do so. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know if there's any other types of content you'd like to see me make in the future. Would love to do that. And yeah, love you. Jesus loves you, and I'll see you in the next one.